Here we have the 8-bit wreath by ThinkGeek, and in the box you've got a wonderful pixelated foam wreath. Now it's not heavy, it's really quite light, and it really is kind of hard but squidgy foam, the kind of thing that LARP role players make their swords out of and beat each other up with, having great fun. Now one thing you'll notice almost straight away, and the reason I've got this side by side the box, is the colours aren't as vivid as the actual cardboard box itself. However, they're good. I'm not complaining. The greens are green, the blues are blue, the reds are red, and when you take away the box you really don't notice it at all. So as I said, there's a bag as well to keep things moisture protected, so when you finished having this hanging on your door over Christmas you can put it back in the bag, back in the box, and keep it. So it's a great storage item for your decoration. Now what I'm going to do is zoom in a little bit on the actual decoration as I give some dimensions and decoration details. So the actual total height of the wreath is just over 13 inches, that's 33 centimetres, and the widest point probably from that gamepad controller on the right there to this wonderful spaceship here, probably about 11 inches, 28 centimetres. So big enough without being huge. Certainly it's not a waterproof outdoor item, it is light. I'm going to flip it over quickly actually, and you'll see there's a hanging point here. So basically you've got to think about this as a multi-layered foam item, which is what really gives it that kind of pixelated look to it. You've got a couple of layers of green and a double thick layer of black foam. Internal to this there is actually a plastic, hard plastic, let's call it battery compartment, and powered lights. So this actually has some LEDs that blink. So if I turn this over, this compartment down here is actually there's an on-off switch there, just get it so you can angle it in the light, and it takes two AA cell batteries. They're not included in the box, so you need to get these yourself and pop them in. A Phillips 1 or Posi-Drive 1 size 1 crosshead screwdriver will open that up, and there's a switch. I'm going to turn it on. So turning it on in full bright light, obviously I've got studio light going on above here, it's going to be a little bit underwhelming, but you can absolutely see these gold coins are now all blinking randomly, so they're all coming off together. Now what I'm going to do is slowly dim the lights so you can get a better feeling for what it will look like in a kind of more festive environment. So there we've got the studio light off, but I've still got surround lights within the room, so this is kind of normal electric light. I'm now going to turn these off, so it's going to go quite dim, but I'm going to leave one or two lights on so it's not pitch black. So you've even got a bit of a shadowy effect going on. In fact, that's the shadow from my light stand and tripod stand. So absolutely those gold blinking stars, and they really are a yellowy gold. They're really nice. They're not a harsh brash LED light, they're a nice warm golden yellow, so that's really pleasing to see, and they twinkle away quite merrily. Now I've had them on for days and the batteries last and last and last. Yes, I'm using good quality batteries, but you really don't need to worry about turning this on and off all the time. It stays on when you leave it on, and you've got to turn it off manually yourself. So as I said, there is a switch and a hook on the back, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get this on a door. Now, because it is lightweight, I wouldn't recommend this is outside. It's certainly not waterproof, so there's nothing waterproof about this battery compartment. You do not want to spoil the electronics. And the hook, it's a kind of flat hook, so although it's shaped as though it would narrow, where you put a large head screw through it and pull it up to the very top bit and lock it in, there's no real locking point in there. So it absolutely will sit on a sort of wide head pin or a nail head, but it's not really going to lock in place the way perhaps you'd think, and a little bit of blue tack or something discreet that isn't going to perish the foam is probably recommended if you don't want it to be knocked or jarred as the door opens and closes. Of course it looks brilliantly on a wall as well, but I'm going to now fix it to a door and show you what it looks like. And here it is, hanging on an internal wooden door. So as you can see, I've got it quite high on the door, but it's personal preference. I'm again going to dim the lights so that you can see it in, let's say, less bright studio light. So there goes one light. Again, I'll let you have a look at that in a kind of nice natural dim side light illumination. And I'm now going to turn them off as well to just a single side lamp. And as you can see, really effective in all light conditions. I mean, it looks brilliant without the lights on, but personally I leave the lights flashing because just really don't seem to consume any battery power, and these little LED blinkers just seem to happily twinkle away throughout the season. I'm going to raise the lights now, and what I'm going to just do is to quickly show you how I've mounted it. So I've got it so it won't swing, and that's also so it doesn't fall off when the door's being opened and closed. So I've actually got a little bit of blue tack on the bottom. So I turn that around and show you. I've actually got the blue tack on the battery compartment because I find the blue tack sticks better to the hard plastic than it does to this kind of high density foam. It will stick to the foam, but not as well as it does the plastic and then the wood. And as you can see here, I've got a kind of white headed fat pin head that I kind of hook onto and then pull down onto the actual shape. So I pull it down, hook it on, pull it down so I know it's tight, straighten it up to the point where I want it, and then just let the blue tack do its job. Okay, that's it. Okay, so I wanted to zoom in to let you have a little stroll around this 8-bit foam deluxe wreath, and particularly to see some of the gold coins flashing away. I've got my hand covering one of the cherries there. So I'm going to zoom in on one of the, in fact I can get maybe two, so I'm going to try to zoom in on at least one, if not more than one, of the actual flashing gold coins. And as you can see, underneath the foam, so it actually glows through the foam, you can't actually see the LED at all, which is quite clever. So they're all the same. I'm going to just zoom in near the cherry because you've got quite a nice fancy starship design going on there as well. And as you can see, a couple of those pixels are blinking away. Now it's actually circular underneath, but it of course pixelates nicely, so you really don't notice that it's circular, and it comes out looking like 4 of those pixels, which is very much the idea. And of course you've got a very famous looking green mushroom guy with a Santa hat on top, which I think is rather fantastic as well. So that's just some real close-up detail for those of you who wanted to really have a look at the coloration and shading. So this slightly darker area of green, that's all intentional. Again with the red, it's all intentional, so it's deliberately kind of shaded as though the light's coming from the side, and you can make of that as you will with regarding your own light and the side of wall or door you put it on. And I'm just going to now twiddle it sideways so you can see a little bit more. I'm going to angle it a little bit more so you can see the kind of depth and the construction here. So it is, as I said, multiple layers. I'm going to try to make sure that the camera's focused in on the edge for you there. So I'm almost going to point this up towards the camera now. There we go. So there's sort of 5 layers. Now they're only really 4, but one's a double one. So this is the double one. You've got 2 kind of green layers, and then the top thinner foam black layer, and the ribbon is actually slightly proud. So I guess there is 5 real layers there, and the bottom one being double depth. I'm just going to spin that around a little bit so you can see at a bit of an angle as well. So it really does from the side give a fantastic, and it really does enhance this. I'm so glad that they did this with the green and black, because it really does kind of frame it, and they're not all the same size. So the bottom black one does stick out, and that again, that edging really does, that stylizes the green wreath fantastically. So it really looks better in person, in the flesh as it were, in its foamy flesh. And really can say that that looks quite astounding. And I think, you know, I'm doing all this wiggling around and angling for you because some of these reviews and photos make it look very flat, and it isn't flat. It really isn't. There is height and texture, and that's really what I'm trying to show you here, that these things are multi-layered, and you've actually got, you know, depth where the gems and the golden coins are all proud of the wreath, the bow proud yet again. So there's a real kind of three-dimensionalness to this wreath. To end, here's the back of the box, and I'm going to just quickly read through this little saying because it's quite cute and very much is what this is all about. So this is deck the halls with 256 colours at a time. If you think back to your holidays gone by, the one thing you're bound to recall is the year you got your first game console. Sure, there are other memories, but honestly, who has the non-volatile RAM to retain all that data? hang the 8-bit holiday wreath on your door, and no one need wonder which moment holds that precious pointer to your register of registers. So great fun. Does explain also that this is for ages 14, not suitable for ages 14 and under, so 15 and above. Keep away from young children due to small parts. That it requires 2 AA batteries, not included as I mentioned, and of course the website thinkgeek.com. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please feel free to like, subscribe and comment.